Hello, I'm Sarah Hayden. Welcome to PortMedia Open Studios. I'm here with Bill Clary, who is the chairman of Greater Newburyport Green Expo.
Thanks, Sarah. Good to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming in and sharing what this is all about. I know it's on April 11th
right,
from 4 to 8 at the Knock Middle School.
Right.
And I thought, what I thought it was just exhibitors, but I came to learn that there's a lot of people speaking and giving presentations, and so maybe you can give us a little information about maybe we'll start with some of the speakers.
Sure. So, yeah, we've put together a pretty interesting slate of speakers. We have pretty much speakers going from 4 to 8. They're in kind of two different groups. We have what's called our quick talks, and that's people representing the city departments involved with energy, waste, and resiliency. There's some other people talking about different products and services that are available in the community for retrofitting your house, handling waste, how to calculate a carbon footprint. A whole number of things. And then between 6 and 7, we're actually going to have local politicians speaking about kind of their position and interest and advocacy with regards to green technologies and specifically, again, energy, waste, and resiliency. So it's going to range everything from a keynote speaker, Mayor Holliday of Newburyport, to I believe we'll have Jim Kelcourse. I believe Diane DiZoglio is going to be here. We'll have somebody from, at least one person from the City Council. Frank Cousins from the Newburyport, Greater Newburyport Chamber will be here. So it's going to be a pretty good collection of people with a lot of perspectives represented. I
think it looks great. I mean, I was happy to see there's stuff that we could film and be helpful and get it out on the channel, but then I thought, oh my God, that's a lot to film and get out on the channel. So I mean, to me, that is a lot. We're going to try to do our best and get as many people as we can, but we'll definitely get the mayor, the state rep, you know, Superintendent Gallagher is going to be there, and I think as many people as we can get. I think we could probably get them all. If we can get there at 4. I think we're going to close that night, and then just go over there and try to get the film.
Yeah, I mean, we had so many people that were interested in presenting that we actually have the auditorium filled up for the whole period of time, as well as the library.
I mean, for people who are not, you know, don't know all the details about the Green Expo or didn't read the article in the paper maybe or haven't really heard about it. I know is there a sign out by the school? So
we've got a sign out, just went up today down at Fuller Field.
Yep, yep.
And then I believe it's on the 25th, which is what, Tuesday of next week, that there'll be a sign that goes up by Atkinson's.
Monday's the 25th. I know
okay, Monday,
Caleb's
right.
birthday's the 26th.
That's right. Yep.
I got that down. For people who maybe want to look at and you know, if they can't go for the whole 4 to 8 and they want to just look at a certain time period, maybe catch one of the speakers.
Oh, absolutely.
It's on the Facebook, and you also have a website.
Right. www.greaternewburyportexpo.com.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great, actually. And it's very exciting. And of course, you know, I'm an earth lover, a believer in climate change. Oh, who would think? I mean, oh my goodness.
Well, the thing we're trying to stress here is that while, you know, that's some of the kind of the push for some of the things that are going on, there's also an interest, of course, in saving money. And we're trying to show people that while, yes, there's some climate change impact that's we're all looking at, you know, people are still going to need jobs. They're still going to need to run businesses for profit. Of course, there's nonprofit activities as well, but there's services, careers. There's a lot of different things coming together here.
Yeah.
So it's not just hopefully you'll feel good for attending and learn something, but there's you know, also some products and services and businesses to link in with.
The first, I'm not sure if it was at the first Green Expo, which was you had mentioned earlier, was at 2008.
Right.
But I learned somewhere in there about the soy paper products and things like that. So like we have for our Earthport Film Festival, that's on the 28th of April for anyone who's interested. That has it's a zero waste event. So you know, anything that's we can give back, we give back, and then everything is recycled. And one year we had one orange straw. It was a Dunkin' Donuts straw. We were going to do something about that the following year, but it just didn't happen. But we have gotten involved with the river and things like that.
Right.
Yeah, there are a lot of, maybe you have some of the exhibitors at the top, off the top of your head that are coming.
Let's see, there's, we're expecting about 40 exhibitors, for-profit exhibitors. There'll be about 10 city departments all in the gym. So Revision Energy is one of them. They do, of course, solar panels and solar work, both, I guess, residential as well as commercial. We're going to have some farms there, local farms that are doing either organic farming or sustainable farming, but you know, they're not selling their produce, but they're advertising what they're going to be, what they do.
So maybe like a CSA, if someone is that. If they,
right.
If they have a CSA and they can join.
Yeah, I think there's one or two of the CSAs. Let's see, we were trying to get a shoe company because we want to encourage people walking and biking and using public transportation. And there was actually an interesting shoe company that just announced that they were harvesting algae from some ponds, creating a foam that could be used to make compostable shoes.
That's cool.
And they're not exhibiting, unfortunately, but there's some really interesting stuff going on in the shoe and textile industries.
Seaweed, it's
right.
Where you should invest. It's like, if this place goes down because the FCC drags it down, I'm going into the seaweed business. Right.
But National Grid will be there with some of their renewable energy portfolio, discussing some of that. So power, there'll be some waste companies for compost, Black Earth will be there.
Rain barrel.
There'll be a rain barrel. I believe the city's bringing in a little bit of information and maybe a couple barrels on that. Let's see. I
have to say, just a little plug for both of those things. My neighbor has, they moved, but they left their rain barrel thing. It's surprising how much water you can get in that thing.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, we didn't even have, I don't even think we had a lot of rain one of the years. And they're just, the kids loved it. So their whole mother was always going, don't do that. They were always filling up their thing with the rain. But with the compost and the discussion about the going to one bag, maybe pay as you throw or something like that, we have been using the green, what is it? It's Black Earth compost.
Right.
The little green bin. They pick it up once a week. We've had only one bag of trash since we've been doing it. And I'm not even really like hyper focused on getting everything in there, but it immediately went down to just one bag of trash. And literally I think I could get it down to almost nothing.
Well, Black Earth is really interesting because they're not only taking your food waste, but they'll take, I believe, newspapers, pizza boxes.
They'll take greasy piece of pizza
They'll
boxes.
Take clothes. Textiles that are recycled in a variety of ways.
Yep.
So it really looks at a variety of waste streams in terms of what they can do to help reduce the trash.
They take animal waste, but they do not take dog or cat waste or cat litter because of the disease or parasites that are with that. But they will take like bird, hamster, something else. But anyone who is thinking about it, it's really not that expensive. I think I paid for the year, maybe it was $125 or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was about 100, yeah, give or take, yeah.
You know, and I know people have talked about maybe sharing with your next door neighbor or something like that, because if you don't think you can fill it up, but it's pretty amazing if we go to this, you know, single stream, which I've heard some communities are not even taking plastic bottles anymore to recycle. Yeah. It's really, so, you know, there's a lot of things going on. Right,
there really are. The food side is just really dynamic right now, and it's really fun to see all the different CSAs, farms that are exhibiting or selling their goods all over the community here. Nourishing the North Shore, of course, will be attending, and with all the work they do. So it's really kind of fun.
I do think it's interesting. They had some of these ideas with this program I had watched. It might have been 60 Minutes about how to maybe localize, maybe do more hydroponics or something like with vegetables rather than bringing them all from California and Mexico because of all the gas and travel and all this stuff. But where was I going with this? My brain has stopped. Oh, but I think keeping the farms local. I know, it's 100 miles an hour.
No, that's all right.
It's so important. I was just down, I met the butcher, Warren Means, I think his name is. Warren Means, the modern butcher, which you know, I mean, I eat some meat, but, you know, I usually go to tender crop and try to get the most healthy if I'm going to eat it. But they have, you know, a whole philosophy around how they butcher the animal, that it's not going to have any stress, and that's going to live a good life. And I just think there's a lot of interesting things like that are going on too. And your meat isn't coming from somewhere you don't even. They know the animal. They know
Right.
the animal.
Yep.
And I think that's so important for so many reasons.
Right. And, you know, so many of the local animals, of course, are going to be fed with grass and just local products as well. So it reduces the antibiotics, reduces a lot of the other things that go into the meat.
I would imagine there must be some new products, or there probably are current products that people can use instead of using Roundup. All the bad press about Roundup and its carcinogens and all sorts of stuff. I don't know if anyone will be there about that kind of thing, but
yeah, I don't think we're. Well, some of in the nonprofit area, which is going to be in the cafeteria, there may be some people talking about specific things like what are your alternatives to some chemicals in terms of controlling weeds or whatever. Certainly one of the areas that is getting a lot of attention, and there's a lot of groups now working on it, is permaculture, where you try to purposely plant different plant species that are symbiotic with each other, and if you set it up properly, they actually crowd out the weeds so you don't even have to weed. There's some really interesting kind of things going on in that area. iFarm, I believe, the woman who runs that is very involved in permaculture. There's a North Shore permaculture group that's working right now, and a couple other people that I've heard about I'm just starting to touch base with that are kind of involved with that sort of initiative, which then, of course, dovetails with trying to make sure we have locals and native species to support the birds and the bees and everything else locally.
Yeah. I think one of the films that's at the film festival is about weeds, how to work with them, something about weeds. It was one of the winners. Sorry, I just read Elizabeth, if she sees it, she'll be like, ah. But you know, I was interested because Mark Ritchie, he had been on my list of like, if I ever go out looking for potential sponsors or people interested, you know, because there was an article and it talked about, he had talked about his interest in you know, sustainability and things like that. And I think it's great. I have not seen him speak. So that's kind of a coup.
Yeah, no, he did a great job here. David Moon with the Audubon Joppa Flats had a group of business people together recently, and Mark spoke and just gave a pretty nice overview of all the work he did to take the building down there in the industrial park, insulate it, and really start implementing various technologies but to both reduce his costs, his operating costs, but to become self-sufficient in energy.
I think that's
and
great.
Of course, I believe he was just in the newspaper here recently, today, I think, with a new technology for, no, he was on LinkedIn, that's what it was.
Oh, I'll have to look.
Something for spraying on products. It was a new robotic system.
Oh, interesting. I mean, for people who, there's David Hall, Michael Strauss, Amber Hewitt. You are going to speak. Donna Holliday, the mayor's going to speak. The state representatives, Sean Gallagher, Frank Cousins, high school poetry.
Right. So Deb Szabo is going to organize
Poetry Soup.
Somewhere between 2 or 3 groups that are going to do they're going to have teams doing some sort of poetry, I would imagine, maybe to a rap sort of beat, but not with any music.
Well, of course, it is Poetry Month, April.
Right.
And she is coming in to speak sometime, but you're going to use her all up. She's going to be all like, and all the kids will be like, we can't, we're too tired. So and then you have Mike Morris, of course, he's great, and David Chatfield, Don Walters, who I'm not familiar with, but all these are very interesting topics. Yeah,
Don's on the Planning Commission here for the city, as well as on the Energy Advisory Board, and he's a utility executive. And so he has a really interesting take on energy issues.
That's interesting. I know the mayor had asked us to try to do more planning meetings, so he's on the planning board.
Right.
The problem is they're very long sometimes. I don't know if they've shortened, but it's hard to. I can't pay someone to go do a meeting. Sorry. But maybe we can get like self-driven cars. We can get self-filming meetings. Like set up the camera, click go. But no one can touch it. That's the thing. At least we're there. We know no one's touched it and taken anything out. No hanky-panky going on.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, some of those speakers you mentioned, Mike Strauss is with the Energy Advisory Committee here for the city of Newburyport. He's the chair of that committee, and that's leading the charge from the city government, really, to try to figure out how we're going to move towards net zero energy. And that task force is very focused on that and has a couple deliverables. One of them is actually doing a look at the carbon footprint of the city, and Deb Shepard is going to be speaking in one of the quick talks, giving an update of what those results are.
Interesting.
Let's see, David Chatfield is with the Resiliency Committee, looking at, what happens if sea levels rise, how do we make sure we protect our power supply, our water supplies, and how do we plan for whatever transitions are needed. And then I believe Molly and Kristen, Molly Ettenborough and Kristen Walth are working with the Waste Committee, because as you were talking about with waste streams getting more and more difficult, they're more expensive, and then of course on the recycling there's actually a reduction in capacity. And how do we plan for that to both contain costs but make sure we are, our trash is disposed of.
It's really a problem. I mean, if there was just either to not use it at all, like people don't buy it, but it's very hard to not buy it. I mean, it's very hard. I know Kristen has the answers and she can do it, or at least send it to the right recycling. But it's very hard for, busy moms, dads, families trying to do things. It's very hard to do all these things, to be a good steward of the earth. I think to be able to recycle in our own country is an important thing, instead of having left it all up to China was a mistake. I think it was a great idea. But being able to think of what to do with that.
Well, one thing that has been flagged and the schools are doing is, if you look at a lot of the water fountains in the schools, like at airports now, you'll see a lot of the bubblers actually have refilling stations.
That's great.
So your per bottle that you have for coffee or water or whatever, you can refill with water at the water stations.
That's a great idea. We have a Berkey filter here, which is an amazing thing too. In case you have dirty water, I think it's amazing. Yeah. The other thing that's interesting, I mean, I think it's interesting, and it's very innovative of people that have been left with all the bottles that have washed up, or things that they're making from houses to roads to. I mean, it's amazing. Boats. Rafts. It's fascinating. At least they're using them for something. I
don't know if Joanne Clemens, our marketing, she's leading the marketing team for the Expo. She's tied in with a woman here in town, and I can't remember her name, haven't met her yet, but who's taking or recycling textiles and creating fashion. And we're going to have 3 to 5 of people kind of wearing some of these repurposed textiles.
She's done this for a while. I'm sorry.
She has.
Can't remember her name. Yeah, that's a shame. The old brain. It's just not too much plastic, I think. I don't know. Lord have mercy. I know in some countries they're using the plastic bottles as, instead of money to ride this public transportation, they're taking plastics. So you can throw your plastic bottle in and you get your ticket to ride. I think that's a good idea too. Encourages people to pick the stuff up, because it now has some value, instead of just throwing it in the God knows what. I mean, the oceans is really a disturbing thing, but it'll be interesting to see some of the businesses. So I know you have for-profit businesses, you have non-profits, you have city officials, some state people, and then the other,
there's 2 other important groups. One is the Repair Cafe.
The Repair Cafe.
So Kristen said they've got 38 for sure, maybe 39 people that'll be doing repair work. And that's everything on textiles, so sewing things up, to small appliances. And I believe she has at least 1 person who can repair bikes.
That's awesome.
And so that's going to be set up in the shop at the middle school. And then the other thing is in the cafeteria we're going to have some food and some soft drinks for sale. But this guy Bill Irish from Kittery he and his team are going to be preparing the food, but he's going to be doing some food preparation demonstrations and discussions, and that'll all be in the cafeteria.
There's only one thing you overlooked in this project.
What's that?
It was your videographer.
Yes.
your team of videographers. I said, we are always thought about at the last minute.
Right.
I know someone did come earlier, but I mean, this was just, I mean, you've done a tremendous amount of work. I mean, I know you've had other people to help you.
Yeah, we've had a great team, group putting this together.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, the other groups I should mention, sorry, are schools. We have 8 area schools that are participating. So we've got the Newburyport schools, we've got Triton participating, Whittier Tech, Governors, Endicott College, Merrimack College, and Northern Essex County.
Wow.
I think I've got everybody. I hope I'm not forgetting somebody.
It's all on the website or on your...
It is all on the website. But they're going to have some tables and some sort of exhibits because almost all the schools are doing something on energy, waste, curriculum development.
That's great.
So there's a lot of different programs that the schools will be talking about.
I think there's a lot that we could film if anyone's interested in... I'll get you, Bill. I can only put in a little plug for Earthport Film Festival. That's all I can say, but that's at the end of the month. But I know this is the 3rd Repair Cafe. I think it's the 3rd one.
I believe that's right, yeah.
I've heard nothing. I've been away the 2 times that they've had it, which is odd because I'm usually, I mean, I go to these fascia workshops or conventions, conferences. But this one I'm going to be here, so I'm going to see what's going on.
It should be really fun. I'm in the same boat. I've missed both of them, and it's going to be fun to see. Yeah. I think Kristen said they pulled in 125 or 150 people the last time.
Elizabeth said. I think it's just great that people are interested in fixing and repairing things, and I would hope that young people are also interested in doing this and not just...
learning a skill, learning how to take care of things, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's great. Oh, I think we've touched on everything. Is there anything else you would want to add? I mean, are you going to do this next year, or is this an every other year thing, or what is...
Yeah, I think we're thinking about, we will do it again. We're currently thinking it'll probably be every other year, so it'll be in 2 years' time. It'll give us time to kind of digest how it worked and what we might want to change. The school gets to do, the system gets to do the same thing about how well it worked. I probably should say that there's no cost for attendance. We're trying to encourage people to think about carpooling or walking or biking or taking public transportation to it. There is parking at the school, and we'll have some overflow parking. We will have a police presence there to help with traffic flow. But because of the attendees, we do want people to think about public transportation where it makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think it just sounds like it will be, I hope there's going to be good weather.
Right.
That's all you can really hope for now. I mean, I think you should definitely have good attendance. I mean, I think that's just, with all the people that are coming, someone's going to be coming to see somebody that they know or that they're interested in. So right there, you're going to have quite a number of people. I think it sounds great.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for sharing all the information and coming in to speak with me.
Well, thanks, Sarah. Thanks. Good to talk to you.
Maybe we can have a post-Expo, maybe let's see, April, May, maybe like in June, how things went. Or,
sure.
That could be interesting. What do you do for your full-time work?
I've got a startup company looking to grow algae for human nutrition, cosmetics, and pharmaceuticals. Interesting.
Algae. Oh, I was close there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this could be good because the FCC is trying to defund us. Anyone wants to, help, they need to just go on the, our NCM hub, and there's a petition to sign for the FCC. I don't know what's going to happen, but hopefully we can continue community television because I think it's really important.
Maybe you should have a table at the fair.
Well, thank you. It's possible it might not be manned, but we could put some constitutions out. Those go fast. All right, well, thank you. That's a possibility. If anyone's interested in doing these community interviews, it's very simple to become a member. It's very inexpensive, and this is very easy and fun to do, and it's set up so you can just come in with your guest and interview, and then we hopefully get it right up on the channel so we can share information with the community. So
great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you for watching PortMedia Open Studios.